the Arrival Fallacy. It's the mistaken belief that achieving a specific goal will bring you lasting happiness or fulfillment. This is why we spend so much time feeling like shit, because we always shoot for the destination rather than the journey. A high performer, what every other high performer does, is quality of life, freedom of time, freedom of finances. You are a high performer in what it is that you do. You show up like a high performer. What the hell is the point of everything we do if you're not going to enjoy the journey? Money means nothing. All these properties you acquire, everything you do mean nothing if you don't love your life. On today's training, I actually, it hit me last night. I wasn't sure what I never planned for these. I always just kind of see what you guys need and where we're at, and I kind of go that way. And this one hit me last night at like 10:30 at night, and I was like, oh yeah, we got to talk about this. So the concept is called the Arrival Fallacy. All right. So if you haven't heard about the Arrival Fallacy, it's the mistaken belief that achieving a specific goal will bring you lasting happiness or fulfillment. So for those of you, Frankie, Blake, everybody here, Kate, you guys have done deals too, that you've closed that deal that you're like, if I could just close this deal, right? And you've done it. Has your life drastically changed the day after?
No.
No, no. Thank you, Erica. No, it hasn't changed because it wasn't that. It is never this next deal. Everybody always thinks, if I could just close this deal, John, I know nothing. You know nothing. Nothing will change in your life because it's not about the destination. You understand? This is why we spend so much time feeling like shit, because we always shoot for the destination rather than the journey. You understand? And the problem with the destination is that when you finally get it, which you will get it. I guarantee you will. It's just, you're going to be like, eh, like, the fuck now? What's going to happen now? Yeah, because it wasn't about that. Once I hit seven figures, once, even I lose all this weight, or I buy that house, or I hit my first, big wholesale, whatever it is, you finally arrive. And then it's short lived, right? You keep asking yourself, well, what now? What do I do now? So the fallacy is pretty much, I put down some examples to see if you get which ones you guys relate to the most, but I'll feel successful when I do 100 grand a month, right? So well, Ephraim's not here, but Frankie, you got close to that. Kyle's getting close to that. So once I hit 100 grand a month, then you finally get there, or you surpass that, and you realize that you're busier than you ever were before. You're still comparing yourself to others doing 300 grand a month, or the feeling fades fast, and now you're chasing the next number, right? And the truth is that the joy is short lived unless you're fulfilled by the work, the impact, and the growth along the way. So it's not about hitting the 100 grand a month, because I've done that multiple times, and we do that consistently, and it means nothing. Like, it just doesn't make a difference. You understand? Even when we hit 200 grand a month, and I'm like John calls me, he's like, yo, we crossed 200. And I'm like, oh, okay. Not that I'm not grateful, right? Don't mistake that. Like, it's not that I'm not grateful. I'm very grateful, but it's not why I'm doing this. You understand? Because if it was because of the 200 grand a month, I wouldn't know what the fuck to do after that. I would get stuck again. Here's another fallacy. If I just close this six-figure deal, then I'll feel like I made it. Now, six figures is because we do high margin deals, but for a lot of you, even if I just close my first deal or this next deal, then I know, right? And you close that deal, it's exciting for all of like a week, maybe. And then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, what about this? What about that? Can I do this again? What if I just got lucky? What if it was just a fluke, and it is just a one-time thing? So it's like, so wait, but you said if you did that deal, you would Be good. So why aren't you good then? Right? It's that fallacy. It's the arrival fallacy. You need to be aware about this because this is the shit that happens to all high performers. Now, I said high performers before, and some of you reached out. You're like, "Oh, John, I don't really care about being a high performer." For everybody here, what that is called your little bitch voice. Okay? Get familiar with that little bitch voice. That's what that's called when you don't want to be a high performer. What the fuck does that mean? I don't want to be a high performer. What does a high performer mean to you? Somebody that grinds all day, ignore their family, and they just focus on making a lot of money? No, that is not a high performer. A high performer, it by what every other high performer does, is quality of life, freedom of time, freedom of finances. That's high performers. You are the best in the shit that you do. You are a high performer in what it is that you do. You show up like a high performer. You understand? You don't show up with that little bitch voice of like, oh no, John, if I could just make 10 grand, I'd be happy. Bullshit. 10 grand a month nowadays means jack shit. It means nothing. Like, who here has made 10 grand and it has not shifted your fucking lifestyle in the least bit? Hell yeah. It was nice for a second. And then it's like, yeah, I gotta get back at it. Right? So don't play yourself with this little bitch voice of like, oh no, John, it's not about that. I don't want to be a high performer. Yes, you do. Yes, you fucking do. If not, you got to leave this group because I'm not teaching you how to be average or barely get by. You understand? Like that is not the game that we play here. So where does the fallacy show up the most? After you do your first big deal, when you quit your job, when you scale past your dream income, and when you finally move into or you get that big thing that you wanted to get. For some people, it's a dream home, it's a vacation home, it's a car, it's a boat, it's whatever it is. That for me, it was moving to Tennessee. I moved to Tennessee last year. June 1st made a year that we've been here. I moved to Tennessee last year. I've been wanting to be here for over 2 years. I've been wanting to move here. I finally did it. I got here for about shit, I don't know how many months. I was depressed. I was struggling. I was like, I don't fucking know. And here's the worst part. I know this sounds like a brag, but it's really not because it fucked with me. The worst part is that I was depressed. I wasn't working hard, yet my business kept growing. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, usually I'm putting out fires. There are literally no fires. And the business keeps growing. What the fuck? Who's playing a joke on me? You understand? Like, I had built the systems, I had built the processes, I had done the work to give me this freedom. But because I wasn't focused on the process, I was focused on the destination. When I hit the destination, I didn't know what to do with myself. What now? You're in Tennessee. I don't know what to do. Well, don't you want to go hiking? I guess. I don't know. Like, I only got to the part of getting here. I didn't get to the part of moving beyond this point. So, and for a lot of you, you've done this, right? Beto, you were telling me a lot of your wins at the beginning, right? I'm sure at some point you were like, man, wouldn't it be cool if we can own this, if we can own that, if we can buy this, if we could, and you're doing it. Yet you probably still feel like, now what? What's next? What am I going for now, right? Frankie, we've talked about this. You've hit financial security in ways that, you're like, holy shit. And now it's like you don't know how to live that financially free life, right? You're still looking for hand-me-downs. And it's like, what the fuck are we talking about here? And it's because of that fallacy, right? Like you think that you want this, but you never took the time to think about what does your life look like because of that achievement? What does the next day, the next week, the next year look like when you achieved that moment, that success, that particular milestone? And Now, these are the reasons why, where, or this is where fallacy shows up, right? Your first big deal, all these things. A lot of you there, you saw that, right? You closed two deals, and then what happened? You still keep getting in your head about the next one, right? Can I even do another one? Are buyers even buying? And blah, blah, blah. You get in your own fucking way, right? And it's like, but you already did it. What happened? Everybody always thinks, John, as long as I close my first one, you're gonna see, because I can prove it to myself and blah blah blah. I'm sure Ara, in one way or another, maybe you're thinking like, well, as soon as I can finally close a deal over the phone, then I'll feel like, no, no. I'm telling you right now, guys, cheat code right here. No, whatever that thing is you think you need, when I finally get out of debt, when I finally achieve this, when I finally secure my bills, no, nope, not even a little bit. It's a fucking lie. All right. Now we get to do the work. Now we get to do the fun shit that is actually going to help us get there. But why does this happen? Before we go into the shift, why does this happen? The truth is, our brains adapt quickly to achievements. There's a lot of time that we want, like when I wanted to first make 60 grand, right? A month. We were at 30 something at the time. When we were on our way to do 60 grand, the 60 grand didn't matter anymore because I saw it right there. I knew we were going to do it. It didn't matter. So I'm like, fuck it, 100. And by the time we were hitting 100, it didn't matter anymore because I knew we were going to do it. I saw it, right? Then 150, 180, 200. Now I realized I'm like, it just doesn't fucking matter how much I want to make because it's not what I want. That's not the point. I know I can make the money. I know money is not the goal for me. So then what I started focusing on was the systems because those are always evolving. Those are always growing. Those you can always improve on. And the money, you're going to see you don't even have to pay attention to it. It just keeps coming. Every month, it just keeps coming. The next thing is we often ignore internal growth required to sustain fulfillment. So I'll repeat that again. We often ignore the internal growth that is required to sustain fulfillment. Just yesterday, Frankie went through the same situation as us. We lost a foreclosure because all of a sudden, fucking judges started reading TROs. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, usually you file TRO and it gets delayed. The judge decided to be like, nah, it wasn't good enough reason. What? This is the thing? Like, I don't know, half of you could read. Just kidding. I was just pissed yesterday. But like, we ended up losing those properties that got foreclosed on. Now, a lot of that issue was obviously the sellers. They fucking dragged their feet till the last moment, and we tell them like the closer we get to a foreclosure, the higher likelihood it gets foreclosed on, right? We can try everything we can, but at the end of the day, none of those are guarantees. And we were looking at it and it's like, you can look at it as you fucked up or it's a fail, or you can look at it as it's part of the process. You understand? What is I said this to Frankie yesterday. This is why we work on our mind, right? This muscle up here, because when this shit happens, how are you going to react to it? That's that muscle. That's when that muscle comes in. A lot of us wait until there's a fire to learn how to put it out. No, learn how to put it out. So when there is a fire, you put it out immediately. So yesterday, when that happened, I mean, to John and I, we're like, oh shit. All right. So how are we gonna modify it? Oh, we got to do this. All right, cool. On to the next one. That's it. We didn't miss a beat. It meant literally nothing. You understand? Now it sucks for the homeowner, right? Because they're losing the home. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you did this to yourself. Like I fucking told you. Answer my phone. I've been calling you. I've been trying to get a hold of you. You delayed. This is the shit that happens. Now we gave them some good steps for the next steps and stuff like that. Other than that, they're on their own. But I didn't miss a beat. Why does this matter? Because a lot of times you're going to get hit with this. And what do? You spend weeks, if not longer, lamenting this thing. You spent weeks or longer dwelling on this one deal that got lost because you keep putting all the weight on that one destination. You got a contract right now. John, I need it to close. I need it to close. I need it to close. I'm like, as soon as I hear that from people, I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's not going to close because you're missing the whole point. It's not about closing the deal. It's about understanding the process. I got a deal under contract. Great. Where's the next one? Where's your process? What do you do every day? Where do you show up every single day? Because then you end up making more money than you ever thought and you're paralyzed. You're like, I don't know what the fuck to do now. Do I just take a break? Do I take a week off? Really? Was that the whole goal? Make some money and then go to sleep? It's what a lot of you do. It's what I did. Next thing, we postpone happiness to some future point which rarely delivers as imagined. So we postpone happiness to a future point. I have a good friend in Texas. He owns a big brokerage over there, and he's been an investor for over 2 decades. And he tells me we were just talking about the shit that he's doing. He's like, I'm actually getting ready to sell everything I own. I was like, is this like a fucking suicide call? Like, I'm not equipped to handle that shit. I'm like, what do you mean? And he says, no, I'm selling my home, selling my vehicles, selling my tools, selling everything. I'm gonna buy a truck with a fifth wheel, and him and his girlfriend, they're just gonna hit the country. They're just gonna travel for as long as they fucking want to. I was like, that's beautiful, dude. Yeah. And I was like, that's beautiful. He's like, fuck yeah, I'm tired. He's like, what's the point? What's the point of everything? Like, if you can't enjoy it. He told me a story about his dad. He's like, his dad had two dreams: to travel to Europe and to travel the country in an RV. His dad died without being able to do either one. I get chills because like it scares the fuck out of me. How sad is that? What the hell is the point of everything we do if you're not going to enjoy the journey? It makes no sense, guys. Like, what is the point? What the fuck is the point if you're not going to enjoy the journey? Money means nothing. All these properties you acquire, everything you do mean nothing if you don't love your life. If you're not enjoying the journey, if you're not enjoying the people around you, they mean nothing. And then we're playing a zero-sum finite game that has a beginning and an end. So Simon Sinek, a while ago, I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's the guy that started the whole concept, Start With Why and everything. Excellent book. He has another book that's called The Infinite Game. And a lot of us play the finite game. Like there's only a finite amount of things, right? There's if I hit this amount of money, or if I close these many deals, or it's always finite. It's like this little thing here. And that's the mindset that you got to shift. This shit is not a finite game. You understand this? There's no scarcity in this world other than the one that you put on yourself. There is so much abundance. There's so much fruit out there for all of us to take a bite of. You understand? So you can't be living a finite game. It's not about this next deal. It's not about making this little bit of profit or making this thing or closing this one next deal. It's about just keep it fucking going. What's the process? Keep it going. Like Kyle, you've been getting on a roll lately, right? Getting some deals, getting contracts, closing shit, like just fucking rocking and rolling. But that's your mindset shifter. You're just like, let's go on to the next, on to the next. Let's go. What's the process? What's the systems? What am I working on? What am I perfecting? What's next? Let's go. And it's not about the money. Because Kyle, I mean, we talked about this, right? The money you got right now, you can just chill for the rest of the year. Like you don't have to do jack shit for the rest of the year. Same probably for you, Frankie. It's like, I'm all right. Like, these guys, like, they're young and they're kind of frugal. They're not very expensive people to maintain, right? So you guys have enough money that's like, I don't have to work. It's hard to get inspiration when you don't have to do it, but you get to, right? Now we get to start working on our dreams. What do you want to experience? What do you want to have? Frankie, you shared a win of like being able to take the bill, right? Take your parents out, take them out to dinner, put the bill, not have to worry about it. That's a fucking win. Fuck yeah, it's a win. I can pay for flights for my parents to come visit me. We take them out, everything. They don't have to worry about spending a dime when they're with me. When they're with me, they don't spend any money. I got them. They are my parents, and I got them. You understand? Usually parents are like, no, I need to take care of my kids. You already gave me life. You did it. I got you. It's not about just the money that you need to survive, guys. So let's actually get some work done on this, right? What's the shift in order to avoid this, in order to move towards that win, right? So detach your self-worth from the results. Your value is not tied to the money you make or the deals you close. This is why you guys struggle to share wins. Because if you're not closing deals, how are you even winning? Or if you close a deal, but like Blake said at the beginning, I know it's not that, important. No, dude, it's about you. Your self-worth is not about how big your deals are. Your self-worth is not about the fucking external achievement. It's not about the results. Tie your self-worth to your values. What are your values? What matters to you the most? Is it closing deals or is it building a business? Having financial freedom? Because remember what I said, like when some of you say, oh, I don't care about being a high performer. No, that's your little bitch voice. What does it mean to be a high performer to you? It's different for everybody. I've met high performers that work way harder than I do. And I'm like, you do you, buddy. I'm not going to fucking do that. I like my time freedom. I like my financial freedom. You understand? But I still consider myself a high performer because I have those things. So, what are your values? We did a whole training on developing your core values. So, if you don't know where it's at, just let me know. I'll send it over to you. But we did a whole training on your core values. What are your values? That's the only thing you need to concern yourself with. That's the only thing you need to attach yourself to. Ask yourself this question: what version of me do I need to become to enjoy this journey? So there's a saying that goes be, do, have, right? You got to be in order to do it, in order to have it. A lot of people do, have, be. No. Be is first. You got to become who you want to be. When you become that person, you do the actions that person does. Who do you need to become? What version of me do I need to become to enjoy this journey? There's a whole training I did on the 2080 principle. And Melissa, my coach, did that same training for you guys a few weeks later also. So look for either one of those. I think look for hers better. She's better at that. But it's the 2080 principle. Look for that training. That's who you need to become, right? The whole training we talked about who. Another thing, build systems that support freedom, not just growth. Because what is the point to be making 100, 200, 300 grand a month if your life is chaos? What is the point, Beto, right, of acquiring all these properties if you've run like a fucking chicken with your head cut off the whole time? right? You feel like you're just like, I'm juggling so many things, I'm doing all this, and it's like, and are you crushing it? Nah, not really, or not yet, or like, we're all right. It's like, then what the fuck are we doing, right? So some people like being busy, but remember, production over performance. It's not about what you have, it's about your lifestyle. Do you have the life that you love to live? Do you get excited every day, ready to just take on the world? You understand what excites you and build the systems to support that freedom. When I got approached with these other businesses to purchase, get into, and all these things, the first thing I measure it by is that the life I want? Does this support the goals that I have? If the answer is no, it doesn't get done. You understand? Like, it's not about the money. I know I can make money. I don't have an issue making money. But I do have an issue with losing my freedom. And then lastly, live now like the person you thought you'd become after the milestone. So, Valinda, Evan, you guys got a deal on the contract, right? So it's like, oh, everything, and this is for a lot of people. When you have either your first deal or your next big deal, like a big freaking deal, whatever that means to you. So let's say, Blake, maybe the next deal that you lock up, that there's a $80,000 profit margin on it, right? So something along those lines. All you're going to be thinking about is, okay, what do we need to do so this closes? And you're going to be visualizing the whole journey up until the close. I want you to shift that. I want you to visualize the journey after the close. What does your life look like after you close that deal? What's up, Blake?
You mean when I'm driving my brand new 2023 to 2025 Ford Tremor F-150 with the 5.5-liter V8, and I'm comfortable traveling all the time, going down to Mexico to deep sea fish, and doing a yearly trip with my brothers to the sand dunes on motorcycles, and everything else that I've been thinking about lately? Or am I on
No.
the? Damn it! I thought I had a good point. Ah,
So you
okay, roast
do,
me
you
now.
do, you do, brother. But just on this one point, I love it. I love your enthusiasm. It's like, fuck. So it's what you're talking about is the overall vision of your business, right? Which is amazing. I want you to fucking visualize that piece all the fucking time. Before you get out of bed, visualize that end goal. So I have one too. I have an end goal that before I get out of bed, I put myself in that situation. I put myself experiencing the driving the vehicle, 23 to 25, bullshit, right? Pick a year. I would say 25, 2025. Pick the fucking newest vehicle that's out there. Why the fuck not? Right? Money is not an object. So live the dream that you want, right? That's for your vision. What I'm talking about is when you have that next deal in front of you that's going to scare the shit out of you, right? It's that deal that you're putting all the weight on. Oh, he's not here, but Travis has a big deal that he's looking to close. Same thing. That next big deal that you're looking to close right now, Kate, that next big deal that you're looking to close right now, right? Don't think like, well, we got to see the inspection and hopefully title and da 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 da. No, you already closed on it. What do you do? How do you act? How does the Kate that already closed on this deal act? How does she feel? Not, well, I got to get the contractors. No, 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 no. How do you feel? Fuck yeah, close that deal. Let's go. I'm going to make fucking money on this. Hell yeah. That excitement, that feeling is what you guys got to embody, right? Valinda, Evan, man, it was actually easier to find the buyer. Yeah, we were able to find a solid buyer and get this deal done. That was awesome. And it worked out great. This was fucking fun. Let's go. Let's do this again. Because now, while you wait for that deal to close, the actions you take today are going to get you more deals. You understand? Because then it's like maybe that deal doesn't close, but because you shifted the way you're approaching it, all of a sudden you lock up two, three more deals that will close, or they'll close sooner, or they'll be bigger profits because your energy was completely different. Right? So don't wait for the win to feel it. Feel it and then get the win. Does that make sense? So that is, I'm telling you guys, it's the most massive fucking technique I will ever teach you because it's the shit I live by and it's the shit that I do all the time. Is visualize the outcome. What do I want to achieve? What does it look like when it's done? How would I feel when it's done? And for those of you that are a little more logical, um, I don't know how it's gonna feel. I haven't done it. Dude, I promise you that how you're gonna feel, it's solely up to you. We all feel differently. You know how it's gonna feel. Because if you know how it's gonna feel to lose it, you know how it's gonna feel to win it. You use the same level of imagination, so don't give me that bullshit. If you can imagine losing a deal, you can imagine winning the deal. All right. What does that look like? How do you act? And I wrote down here a quote from Tal Ben Shahar. I think he's like the guy that created this, even the concept of arrival fallacy. So it's the arrival fallacy is the illusion that once we make it, once we attain our goal or reach our destination, we will reach lasting happiness. That's the biggest bullshit we're ever going to tell ourselves.
Hey,
Put
John,
that
can I
shit in
share
the
something real
chat.
quick?
What's up,
The
Beto?
I was gonna say, if you guys get a chance just to look in they interviewed Emmitt Smith from the Dallas Cowboys, and it was interesting because he talked about since he was like, you know, 4 years old, you know, in Pee Wee and in middle school, and like his whole dream was to win a Super Bowl. Like his whole life was wrapped up in this idea of being an NFL player and eventually winning the Super Bowl. And he kind of talked about his life and how he focused on how he didn't hang out with friends and you know his diet. I mean, everything down to the day that he actually won a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys. And he says that was one of the worst days of his life because here he finally hit this pinnacle, this goal that he had been dreaming about, working towards every day of his life, and he finally reached it. And he says that night at the hotel, he said I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know now what. You know, now I've done this huge thing now. You know that I've dreamed about. And he says for a while it really messed with him. You know, and when you think about this, he talked about these guys that they go in the NFL, but are not the starters. You know, they're on the bench. They made it. They're on an NFL team, but they never play a game because the stars are playing. And eventually their contract runs out. And those are the guys who become, you know, insurance salesmen and whatever it is. But their point was like, here they fight all their life, like that fallacy. And when he got there, he thought it was going to be this huge. And he goes, it was one of the worst days of my life because then I didn't know
Yeah.
who I was anymore or what I was supposed to do. And like you're saying, to think like, man, you finally reach this point, you think that he has everything, but it's, you know, it's like almost like the beginning again, you know. So
Well,
it's
and that's why like I like studying some of the greats. Like I don't care what your views are sports wise. Some people get very freaking panties in a bunch with it. But you got your Tom Brady's, you got your Michael Jordans, you got your Kobe Bryant's, right? You have these people that, for all intents and purposes, they could have given up after after they did that one Super Bowl, that one NBA championship, whatever it is, but they didn't because it wasn't about that one. It was about the greatness that they wanted to become, right? So, what does that greatness look like? It's the same for you guys in real estate. It's not about closing a few big deals, it's about that consistency of closing deals. It's about building a business that's always providing you the lifestyle that you want. You having the skills, like the obsession I had, and I've been trying to look for. I have a training put together for you guys at some point of about your obsessions. But I think desire is a better word for it. The desire I had in real estate was I wanted to be better, just better. I wanted to be the shit at this business. You understand? I wanted, like, I didn't care who you were. I was probably, if it was you against me on a deal, I was gonna win every fucking time. Like I had that desire. So I perfected the way I spoke to sellers, the way I present myself, the way I present closing things, the way, I mean, you've seen all the trainings I put out on closings and stuff. Like that shit's not in a book anywhere that you read. It's just experience, right? Because I obsessed with being better. You understand? With closing bigger deals, with closing bigger deals faster, with closing bigger deals easily, with just better, a better business, a much more fun business, a better lifestyle, all those things. So when you ask, like, what do I do? It's like, where's your desire? right? What is it? Is it just to close a big deal here and there? Or is it to just have the financial freedom to enjoy life to the fullest? Then when you close a deal or two, it just doesn't, you're like, cool, closed it. That means the system is working. Let's keep working the system.